Welcome. My name is George. I have been working with Dustin for quite some time. I'm a software engineer and a team lead in the team. And today I would like to speak to you about our journey with observability and how we have introduced observability in our way of working and also communicating with the business. So let's get started. Quick agenda, what are we going to talk about? A little bit, I would like to inform you what is Dustin. I'm not sure people know the company. Anyone knows Dustin here? Oh, wow, that's cool. Nice. So yeah, talk a little bit about Dustin, our landscape, and what do we do with observability and with New Relic, and how did we achieve a harmonization journey through a big acquisition that happened, and also to talk about our reflections and why actually we like it and why we work with it. Okay, let's get started. So who are we as a company? Some people of you already know we are an IT powerhouse with a vision to become the biggest IT powerhouse in Europe. And we actually serve everything for the business, everything that the business requires in order to start and to thrive and to grow. We are here to support that, from software licenses, from hardware, from software, from printers to iPhones, everything that the business requires, we are here to support and to work together so every business can grow on their side. Our current position is quite big, so we are working with every type of businesses, from LCP to SMB and to B2C. I think everybody should know, like LCP, about large-scale businesses, small, medium businesses, and B2C customers. And we work with a lot of brands, a lot of services that we have, and also Dustin, we have our own products like Voxicon or Guilford. Yeah, we try to keep everything together and to cover all of our customers. Then I want to show you a little bit how we are in Europe. At the moment, we have 6 business units around Europe, with the biggest being the Netherlands and Sweden. And yeah, it's a challenge to have business units, and every market is different. And we try to be aligned with everyone and to grow even more over the years. So approximately, this is a rough estimation of what we're working with and how many products we have in our assortment. You can see it's like we have almost 3,000 brands and like more than 300,000 products. And as I said, a lot of companies and a lot of like types of products to help everyone move forward with a whole solution. So it's not like you come to Dustin and you get computers, but we will guide you of what you need as a business in order to grow. So I'm not going to say too much about what we do, because I really want to share you the journey with observability. And I will come back to this slide later. So this is let's get started with our landscape. I'm not sure who is familiar. We are working with an observability tool called New Relic. And personally, I worked with them for the past 6 years through another company that was acquired, which I will come back later to that. And this is an overview of our landscape. And for us, this is a very important thing to see, because as you can see, we have like more than 400 containers running in our infrastructure. We have 15 namespaces. We use Kubernetes. We use AWS. All our infrastructure is in the cloud. We allocate AWS services. We allocate Kubernetes, and with an observability tool, we have the power of understanding of what we have and have an overview of what is actually running and if there are things in critical state or not, if we have warnings, and try to be proactive. It's very important for us to be proactive before things are going to pop up in production. So as you can see here, yeah, it's quite a big landscape, and we have namespaces, of course, like every big company is like acceptance, production, testing, staging, And this way we have the ability to see what is running what. So besides, let's say, as a web development team and the technical part that the developers need to know what they do, we use observability as a main tool to talk with the business. For us, it's very important the business to be educated, let's say, from the perspective of what the technical departments require to achieve business value. So we use New Relic to inform the business on things that are very important to them. For example, the availability. So how much runtime we are, how much percentage we have runtime. Do we drop in production? Do we in the night our website's running or not? What is the percentage of availability we have? And this is a KPI that the business is very into. So you can see here 100% success rate, 0 check fails. Of course, that's a perfect data. But so that's one thing. Another important thing is we work for SEO, with SEO teams. And it's New Relic gives us the possibility to show metrics for SEO, such as Core Web Vitals, such as page speed insights, and work with SEO teams to see how we can optimize and what they want. And it's a way that we can communicate through one platform. It's very important for us to have one source of truth rather of scattered platforms around and trying to find data and isolation of data. So SEO is also a big thing. And of course, we use the vulnerability management from New Relic to share our security performances. So how do we secure the business from hard times, from attacks, from downtimes, from anything that can happen? We live in a world that it's dangerous, we like it or not. So as one tool, as I said, there are a lot of things that we share with the business to increase business value. And as I mentioned, performance KPIs, how does our online presence work? How are we online? We share dashboards, and dashboards is a way of separation of concerns. And I want to stay a little bit here to explain that. So in Dustin, we'd like to work in domains. And by domains, I mean, while we have a big online presence and a big web shop, this web shop contains multiple domains. And simple domains are the product domain or the checkout domain or the account domain. And those domains, we have different teams for those domains. And each domain has an area of concern. And it's very important, especially when it comes to observability, the separation of concern per domain and to share dashboards narrowed down to this domain. Because how many times, I don't know how many developers are here, but how many times something fell in production, something dropped, and then all the developers are going there to test, to check it. It happens a lot. So when things hit the fan, let's say, a lot of things that we're putting all the work at the side, okay, the production is down, we all have to check and find out what's happening. And this way we prevent this. So every domain, every team, they have their own dashboards, they have their own data, and they know, for example, okay, the team buy, which is responsible for the checkout flow and the cart flow, the team find, which is responsible for the product flow and the product page. They have their own dashboards, they have their own KPIs, and they know exactly what is happening on their own domain. This helped a lot on separation of concerns, helped a lot on focusing on optimizing piece by piece of the website, and of course, focused alerting. So how we are preventing issues to happen and how we tackle the issues when they happen, instead of creating a chaos to the whole organization. Okay, the checkout dropped, who is responsible for the checkout, how can we see what's happening, etc. I will try to be on time. So another thing I think which is very important to mention is like I think we all here work also with third-party APIs. We work with APIs, and sometimes those APIs will not be available, and it's not our fault. But how can we know that, except of like going to production and suddenly you're not getting the data and you have errors? how can you have a mapping place, a map, let's say, that you know where you connected. And you can see here, for example, this simple application, which is the production of our server-side rendering website, is connected to multiple services, like a backend service, another backend service, which is connected to Elasticsearch, another API, and then you have 4 external services. And those 4 external services are 4 external APIs from third parties that we don't control. And this gives us if this becomes red, then you already know that this is something that you need to contact your vendor, let's say your supplier or the API that is responsible for that. So having a mapping of your landscape is very important to understand where are you going to tackle the issue and how. And this also gives an end-to-end observability, and we are monitoring all the infrastructure end-to-end. We can see from the beginning to the end what is happening, the engineering operations, and even the infrastructure. So how many entities are behind this? So for us, this was like, when this came out from New Relic, it was actually quite mind-blowing because we didn't have this overview. We only had an overview of our internal connections, and this actually saved a lot and increased our productivity a lot. So this is more a generic thing, how we drive business value, and sometimes there is an isolation between development departments and the actual business. And this can happen for multiple reasons. Every stakeholder in the planet want their features be delivered yesterday. And if you don't show the business the data that is required for you to take the time to develop, they will not understand it. You like it or not, they will not understand it. So we use New Relic, we use observability to inform the business that, okay, we are doing deployments every day. We put deployment markers, and then the business is aware, okay, they're deploying every day. A small feature is deployed every day. A big feature is deployed every 2 weeks. And there is data behind that, so the business can understand and cannot say, oh no, but you can do it in 1 day or you can do it in half an hour, because the data is there. So it's very, very actually important, including also the alerting. So we have introduced standby shifts, which is actually just a word, because in reality, everything works pretty well, and you have the alerting being proactive. So you get alerting in your phone that says, okay, your performance has dropped by 2 seconds for the past 5 minutes. So you are not down yet, but you are already knowing something is happening. Your performance is dropping for the next 5 minutes. So you are proactively being able to go and see, we are getting attacked, for example, or there is a bot that's crawling our product pages with 100,000 requests per second. So this is very important also for the alerting and to inform the business on that. And also, everybody knows about logging. Logging is very important. You have the ability to go, search the logs, and get the information you want. Now I want to move to a topic that was actually really challenging also for me, coming from another company. In 2020, there was a really big acquisition happened, which is not actually an acquisition, but was mostly a merge. And what I mean by that, it was that it was a big company in the Benelux, responsible, maybe the biggest IT powerhouse in the Benelux, and then was merged with the biggest IT powerhouse in the Nordics. So in 1 day, you had a company from 1,000 people to 2,000 people. This in 1 day. So you can understand that this can be a huge challenge on processes, because both companies, they had really big processes. Both companies were big. They had their own financial processes. They had their own development processes. They had their own HR processes. And this thing took a while to come together. And how do we do that? And I want to stay on the harmonization of the observability tool. So 2 companies, 2 different observability tools, right? What do? You need to start from somewhere and to understand that you need one. right? You cannot continue as a big business to have 2 observability tools. You need to end up in a situation to choose. And there are out there really good players. So how do you do that? How did we do that? So we start by inventorying and research. Meetings after meetings, going deep to every both observability tools, going deeper and deeper, asking the developers, what do you do from here on the left? What do you do on the right? How can you achieve on both sides? Can we do it on both sides? Yes, we can. No, we can't. Yes, we can. What is the business value here? What is the business value here? And then having also a lot of meetings with the support groups, with the support of the both observability tools, which ended up at the end to choose. So we chose to go to New Relic. And how are we going to go to New Relic? Because we already have another tool running and collecting data. So what did we do is we worked MVP. So we deployed the agents parallel. So parallel to the other observability tool, we deployed the new observability tool. Start collecting data without having a big bang. Start collecting data from both sides. Both sides, of course, in the beginning, the cost and the business value was increased a little bit, the cost mainly, but this gives us the possibility to move without losing any data, because we had the agents running together, we were monitoring, comparing, seeing that same information is coming, same information we can find in both places. Okay, time to close the left side, let's say. So there was one moment that we said, okay, we have everything that we need from the new tool. Let's close the old tool. And that's how it sounds easy, but it went like that. It took time, but it was not something like a mountain that we had to climb. It was just like, put the agents down, read the data, understand what you get. Do you get the same info? Can you get the same information from both sides? Okay, close the other system. Simple as that. So that was mainly how we harmonized the acquisition in regards to observability. Now I'm going to go to this one because I think I don't have a lot of time. So how did we do that? For me, it's very important to have a proper way of working inside in the team. And a proper way of working, I mean that embrace your team. It's very important not to be a boss, but to be a leader. And by being a leader is how you will make your team be autonomous, how you will embrace trust to your team and have the philosophy of like, they are special. They are specialists. They are specialists. So you have to trust them. And how you can trust them? Only by empowering them and only by allowing them also to fail. I started in a team that all the code reviews, they had to come through me, really. So I had more than 25 people sending me code reviews all day long. And we said, this is impossible to go. So what did we do is we made the hierarchy flat. So openness, inclusivity, have the people with you, make them understand. Then we embrace flexible workspace. So you have the possibility to go to an office, but you also have the possibility to work from home and be productive. We all know, especially after COVID, flexible offices, especially for developers, could also be a little bit of a struggle because they don't have their monitors, they don't have their toolkits. So it could decrease productivity. But being flexible of having them in the office, also doing the meetings and the brainstorm sessions and the innovation, it helped a lot. We like to have future-proof tech plans. So we create a tech plan and we trust on it. So we will go on it. We will think MVP. So you cannot build a Ferrari from the beginning. You cannot. I'm sorry, but you can't. And we say, start with the wheels. Okay, ask the business, are the wheels okay? The wheels are okay. Okay, build the doors. Ask the business, are the doors okay? Yes, move on. And by MVP, you're working and you're collaborating with the business about the feature that they want. And then, as I mentioned before, you build it your own mentality. So we embrace you, we embrace the developers, they're going to push the code, but if they're going to break it, they will have to fix it. They will have to take the responsibility of owning it. And that's why we don't have any more, let's say, coding privileges. Everybody can push code. Everybody can, let's say, be free, but we give all the tools to the developers, but we embrace trust. And by that means a senior developer, she feels much more comfortable of pushing the code and then check it, or another person is much more comfortable doing pair programming, or another person is much more comfortable creating feature branches, or things like that. So if you give them the tools, they will flourish, and we see it a lot. And at the moment, every team is responsible for their own domain, every team is responsible for their own code, and we have 6 or 7 microsites of one web shop that it's like they all work together, they deploy together, they communicate. It's actually super healthy. And at the end, it's the deliver safe perspective, which is like use the tools on your own benefit. Like I like to, when I deploy the code, to drink a coffee and come back and see everything that's working. I like that. I don't want to deploy code and have a heart attack before I deploy the code. So it used to be like that. And now we have all the tools, and observability also, it's very, very, very important for that, because you have all the environments, you have your infrastructure, you have the overviews, the calls that you make, the errors that you get back. So it's a really, really important thing to think of when you are choosing observability for your business. And this is like a reflection of the impact that we had. So you can see that it can start from the simplest thing you can have, which is the onboarding of new people. We were struggling a lot to have like a proper onboarding process for the people to understand what is our infrastructure, to understand what is running where. So now we have a very simple onboarding. We have like people can join and understand immediately where is our things running. We are in AWS, we have Kubernetes, everything through the observability. A big thing was the productivity increase. And by that I mean we have stopped actually looking where the issue is. Yeah, we can immediately see where the issue is if there is an issue. So from our alerting policies, from our error inboxes, from everywhere, we can see like, okay, so we have stopped actually bothering with fixing issues, but rather more being innovative. So we make new things all the time, and we are not afraid to try. I see a lot of organizations, big organizations, that they are very much stuck on how are we going to do it? Like, and writing meetings and meetings and meetings of like, oh, it needs to be like this, it needs to be like that, and we have covered it. You can't cover everything, so don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to try, especially if you have tools like that you get all the monitoring of your infrastructure. Allow your developers to try and to push the code and break the test environment, because that's why you have the test environment, in order to break it and push the boundaries to see how you can be better. I think that's the most important things, especially on the reflection. Like another quite important thing is like, how can you be prepared for peak periods? And I don't know if you guys understand what peak periods is, but for us it's Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's like, it gets crazy. So we can now scale our infrastructure by going to New Relic, understand how many things we have. Okay, go to AWS, add more auto-scaling, and then when the Black Friday happens, nothing happens actually. Like you scale, and then the traffic is the same, and you continue doing your work, and you serve the customers the same way. So, very important. I suggest you all like think about this when you're choosing observability. And yeah, for us, New Relic was a big partner for many years, and I've been working with the guys for 6 years, and I think obviously we are happy with them. So, yeah, I think that's my 2 cents, and thank you.